The lunch starts at noon. By evening, 3 people are dying in agony. Their organs shutting down. Their bodies convulsing. The meal? Beef Wellington, lovingly prepared by family member Erin Patterson. The secret ingredient? Death cap mushrooms, one of nature's most lethal poisons. No antidote exists. Erin watches as her ex-husband's parents and aunt collapse, knowing exactly what she's done. This isn't food poisoning. This is murder. Premeditated, calculated, and served on a plate. She invited them. She cooked for them. She killed them. And she almost got away with it. This is her shocking true story. Erin Patterson lived in Leongatha, Victoria, Australia, a small rural town where everyone knew everyone. She was in her 40s, a mother, and seemed like an ordinary member of the community. Erin had been married to Simon Patterson, and they had 2 young children together. But by 2023, their marriage had fallen apart. They were separated and heading toward divorce. The split was bitter, with tensions over custody and finances. Erin struggled with the breakdown of her family unit. She felt judged by Simon's relatives, who she believed sided with him during the separation. These family tensions were building towards something dark. Erin was about to make a decision that would destroy multiple families and shock the world. On July 29, 2023, Erin Patterson invited her former in-laws to lunch at her home. The guests were Gail and Don Patterson, Simon's parents and Erin's former mother and father-in-law, and Gail's sister Heather Wilkinson. Simon himself was also supposed to attend but cancelled at the last minute. Erin insisted it would be a pleasant family meal, a chance to maintain relationships despite the divorce. She planned to serve a special dish, beef Wellington with mushrooms. The guests accepted the invitation, seeing it as an olive branch. They arrived at Erin's home that Saturday afternoon, expecting a friendly lunch. They had no idea they were walking into a death trap. Erin had prepared something deadly, and she was about to serve it. Erin served her guests the beef Wellington she had prepared. The dish looked delicious and homemade. The conversation was cordial. Everyone ate. But Erin had mixed death cap mushrooms into the meal, Amanita Phalloides, one of the world's most poisonous fungi. A single mushroom contains enough toxin to kill an adult. The poison causes liver and kidney failure. There is no antidote. Death cap mushrooms look similar to edible varieties, making them particularly dangerous. But Erin knew what she was using. She had researched mushrooms online in the days before the lunch. She deliberately chose this method of murder because it could appear accidental. As her guests enjoyed the meal, the poison was already beginning its work. Within hours, they would all be fighting for their lives. Several hours after lunch, the guests began feeling violently ill. Severe abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. The symptoms started that evening and rapidly worsened. Don Patterson, Gail Patterson, and Heather Wilkinson all became extremely sick. They thought it was food poisoning, something that would pass. But it wasn't passing. The pain intensified. By the next morning, all 3 were critically ill. Family members rushed them to the hospital. Doctors recognized the symptoms of severe poisoning and ran tests. The diagnosis was devastating: death cap mushroom poisoning. The toxins were attacking their livers and kidneys. Medical staff knew the prognosis was grim. Once death cap poison enters the body, there's little doctors can do. The guests were dying, and time was running out. Despite aggressive medical treatment, the poison was too strong. Don Patterson died on August 4, 2023, 6 days after the lunch. His wife Gail Patterson died on August 5, 2023. Heather Wilkinson died shortly after. All 3 victims suffered agonizing deaths as their organs failed. The only survivor was Heather's husband Ian Wilkinson, who also attended the lunch and became critically ill but somehow survived after a lengthy hospitalization and liver transplant. 3 people were dead from a single meal. Families were devastated. The community was shocked. And immediately, all eyes turned to Erin Patterson. She was the cook. She served the meal. She was the only person who ate the lunch and didn't get sick. Suspicion fell on her immediately. Police began investigating. When questioned by police, Erin Patterson claimed the deaths were a tragic accident. She insisted she had purchased the mushrooms from an Asian grocery store and a local market. She said she didn't know they were poisonous. Erin claimed she also ate the beef Wellington and became sick but recovered. She said she threw out the leftover mushrooms and food scraps, so nothing could be tested. Her story seemed designed to explain away any evidence. But investigators weren't convinced. They searched her home and found her internet search history. In the days before the lunch, Erin had Googled death cap mushrooms and searched for information about poisonous fungi. She had also searched for how long it takes for mushroom poison to cause symptoms. The evidence suggested this was no accident. Victoria police launched a homicide investigation into the 3 deaths. They treated Erin's home as a crime scene, searching for evidence. Detectives interviewed Erin multiple times. Her story kept changing. First she said she bought the mushrooms at one store, then another. She couldn't produce receipts. The stores she named had no record of selling death cap mushrooms. Investigators discovered that Erin had been having relationship problems with Simon's family. She felt they interfered in the custody arrangements for her children. There was tension and resentment. Police also learned that Simon was supposed to attend the lunch but cancelled. If he had come, he likely would have died too. Was he the intended target? Or did Erin want to hurt his entire family? The investigation deepened as evidence mounted against her. Investigators worked to understand why Erin would commit such a horrific crime. The most likely motive was revenge and anger related to her failed marriage. Erin blamed Simon's family for the breakdown of her relationship and the custody disputes over her children. She felt isolated and judged by his relatives. Don and Gail Patterson, as Simon's parents, were particularly involved in family matters. Erin may have seen murdering them as a way to hurt Simon and remove people she viewed as obstacles. Some investigators theorized she might have also hoped to gain sympathy or that Simon would inherit money that could benefit their children. Whatever her exact reasoning, the evidence showed planning and intent. This wasn't a mistake. It was calculated murder using one of nature's deadliest poisons. On November 2, 2023, more than 3 months after the deaths, police arrested Erin Patterson. She was charged with 3 counts of murder for the deaths of Don Patterson, Gail Patterson, and Heather Wilkinson. She was also charged with 5 counts of attempted murder, including charges related to other alleged poisoning incidents involving her estranged husband Simon at earlier dates. The attempted murder charges suggested this wasn't Erin's first time using poison. Police alleged she had tried to poison Simon on multiple previous occasions. The case against Erin was strong. She had motive, opportunity, and means. Her internet searches showed premeditation. Her constantly changing story indicated consciousness of guilt. Erin was denied bail and held in custody. She would face trial for one of Australia's most shocking murder cases in recent memory. The case became a media sensation in Australia and internationally. The idea of being murdered by poisoned food at a family lunch horrified people. News outlets covered every development. The small town of Leongatha was thrust into the spotlight. People who knew Erin struggled to reconcile the woman they knew with someone capable of mass murder. True crime followers dissected every detail of the case online. The story had elements that captured public imagination: family betrayal, an unusual murder weapon, and the banality of evil, death served on a dinner plate. Foragers and mushroom enthusiasts warned about the dangers of death cap mushrooms, which grow in Australia and can be mistaken for edible varieties. The case became a cautionary tale about poisonous mushrooms and family dysfunction turning deadly. As Erin awaited trial, prosecutors built their case. They had forensic evidence, internet search history, witness testimony, and the constantly changing statements Erin gave to police. The prosecution would argue this was premeditated murder. Erin researched death cap mushrooms, deliberately incorporated them into a meal, and served it to people she wanted dead. Her ex-husband Simon, who survived by not attending, would likely be a key witness. Medical experts would explain how death cap poison works and why it was clearly not an accidental poisoning. Erin's defense team faced a difficult challenge. How do you defend someone whose internet history shows they researched deadly mushrooms days before serving a meal that killed 3 people? The trial would be closely watched worldwide. In September 2025, after a lengthy trial, Erin Patterson was found guilty. The jury convicted her of 3 counts of murder. The evidence was overwhelming. Her internet searches, her opportunity, her changing stories, and the lack of any credible alternative explanation all pointed to intentional murder. The judge called her actions an enormous betrayal of trust. Erin had invited these people into her home, cooked for them, and deliberately poisoned them. The verdict brought some measure of justice for the victims' families, though nothing could bring back Dawn, Gail, and Heather. Simon Patterson had lost both parents. Children lost grandparents. Heather's husband Ian, who barely survived, lost his wife. The emotional devastation was immense. Erin showed little emotion as the verdict was read. She would spend the rest of her life in prison. Erin Patterson faced sentencing for her crimes. Under Australian law, murder carries a mandatory life sentence. The judge would determine a non-parole period, the minimum time before she could even be considered for parole. Given the severity of the crimes, 3 murders by poisoning, with extensive premeditation, legal experts predicted Erin would receive one of the longest non-parole periods possible, potentially 30 years or more. Victim impact statements were read in court. Family members described the agonizing deaths of their loved ones, the betrayal by someone they trusted, and the ongoing trauma. The judge noted that Erin used a particularly cruel method of killing, poison that causes slow, painful death. She showed no remorse. The sentence reflected the gravity of her crimes. Erin Patterson would likely die in prison. Heather Wilkinson, who survived the poisoning, faced a long recovery. He required a liver transplant and extensive medical treatment. Physically, he survived, but the psychological trauma was immense. He lost his wife Heather to Erin's poison. He had to process that someone he knew and trusted tried to murder him. Simon Patterson lost both of his parents in a single horrific act. His children lost their grandparents. The extended families of all the victims struggled with grief and trauma. They had to live with the knowledge that their loved ones died slowly and painfully from poisoned food at what was supposed to be a family lunch. Support groups helped survivors cope. But the emotional scars would last forever. The case also raised awareness about death cap mushrooms. Foragers were reminded to be absolutely certain about mushroom identification before consuming wild fungi. The Erin Patterson case stands as one of Australia's most shocking murder cases. It combined family betrayal, an unusual murder weapon, and the disturbing image of death served at a lunch table. The case highlighted how family disputes and divorce can escalate to unthinkable violence. It also educated the public about the very real danger of death cap mushrooms, which grow in many countries including Australia and look similar to edible species. Erin's conviction sent a message that premeditated murder, regardless of method, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent. 3 people died because of one woman's anger and desire for revenge. Heather Wilkinson carries physical and emotional scars. Families continue grieving. And Erin Patterson sits in prison, her life defined by the deadly meal she prepared. Some betrayals are unforgivable. Some crimes are unimaginable. This was both. Subscribe for more true crime stories. Thanks for watching.